Then if you build your personal brand, you take that with you wherever you go because you are who you are. And if you build that, then nobody can strip that from you.
Hey everyone, welcome to Where Brands Get Their Edge, sponsored by Nickel Bronx. If you're in marketing, we've got the tools. If you're a founder, we've got the truth. Either way, your brand's about to level up. What is up, Amanda?
I mean, just living the dream.
So I like to hear. How's Boca?
Um, it's great today, actually. Very nice weather. Not too hot that it's burning through my skin yet. We've got another month before that happens.
It is a high of 40 here today, in case you want to be happy you moved again.
Well, it's actually 80 right now. I thought it was cooler than that, but that's fine. That's good.
So today we're opening with personal brand talk and why this is the most important time to do it. I told someone one of the dumbest things I've ever done because of someone's personal brand was switch to T-Mobile. Do you remember that on network campaign when everything was going pink and they had the new CEO? I don't remember his name, but he sold me on T-Mobile. He made me want to be not part of the Verizon establishment. Do you remember that?
I think I was with T-Mobile before
Not
that
not
campaign, which was horrible, by the way. And
Well, so I switched, and as you know, my wife is a residential real estate agent, so I switched our whole family, and she took a road trip to South Carolina that weekend. And literally every time she got service, I would get like 47 texts about how shitty the service is and how she hates me. And if we don't switch back to Verizon as soon as we get back, then she was going to divorce me. So product still has to be good, but personal brand is very important. And we're entering an era where personal brands build the most trust. Everyone's Googling who they work with to find out who you are. And, people like to follow people, not other people. And some people are still sleeping on this.
well, I mean, we are a little bit, actually. You and I, we're right now really developing our personal brand separate from the entity.
We are establishing separate sites, but we've been doing the content thing for a little bit.
Oh, yeah. No, we've been doing a lot for our personal brands, but I think we haven't gone full on with it. So I think it's interesting that we're doing it now. Personally, I've always been tied to a company and kind of been, I feel like, hiding a little bit. Everything, even my other my consultancy, the name is Grade A Marketing. A is me, Amanda, but I don't say my name. Really, to get your name out there is the thing to do.
Yeah, and I think some people still have this like cringe influencer
I do.
factor with it. Yeah, you're one of them. Like, I want to be the dancing monkey. I want all the attention, but it's not. This is just what it takes to really be a leader now. And some people don't know what to post, but that's a strategy problem, not a personality problem.
Well, I
And
think even more than that, like the importance of personal branding, like you said, is growing, especially in this market that's unknown. People don't know what's going to happen with their jobs, where they're going to be, what they might do. And that's always there have been a lot of times when that's been the case, but now it's even more uncertain. And then if you build your personal brand, you take that with you wherever you go because you are who you are. And if you build that, then nobody can strip that from you if everything's tied to a company, then when you leave that company, that brand is gone.
yeah, and especially in this AI marketing era, it's becoming more difficult to build trust because people are putting out the same things everywhere, and nothing is going to build trust or be more authentic than you. And
Yeah.
I also think there's this misperception that like if you're the brand, you got to do all the work. And that's not true. Richard Branson's not flying planes for Virgin. No one needs to talk to him, but they still buy all the Virgin stuff because they want to be affiliated with him in some way. Speaking of, we're going to do a quick dive in. If you are a founder, creator, or marketing leader who's tired of second guessing your personal brand strategy, we've got something for you. We're launching a private coaching cohort for people who are ready to stop lurking and start leading. I know a lot of people don't want to hire a full marketing team for this. If you do, we got you there too. But we're starting this private cohort. You can bring your team so they can implement, we can strategize together, we can give accountability, keep everything working in the right way, and make sure it's going to perform. Plus, we're going to put you in a room with other high performers who are building their brand so we can all do it together. So we're not going to do it for you, but we're going to do it with you, and we're going to make it work. Spots are limited, so if you're interested, slide into our DMs or go to nickelbronx.com and get in touch with us. On to our guest. Hilary, welcome.
Thank you.
Talking about personal brands.
Yeah.
Hilary is her own. I saw her speak at MIT at the Entrepreneurial Master's Program. through EO, and she commanded the room, fully pregnant, by the way.
I did forget.
You
You
what?
got more
I forgot
space.
about that.
Yeah, she was a G. You would have been proud of her.
Oh my God.
She was working, and Amanda knows zero people. That's a tough crowd,
Thank you.
and she rocked it. So welcome, Hilary. You want to tell everyone about your business quickly?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's interesting you bring up personal branding because I kind of did it out of necessity, but personal branding has become a little bit more like omni-channel. It's like an omni-channel social media profile. So instead of just having like a flat page, it's just like how does your identity exist on any page? It's an interesting way of looking at it. Um, yeah, so I've been doing process improvement consulting since my time at Toyota. I used to do lead, specifically Kaizen activities for the South Pacific. So basically throughout Asia for Toyota. And I've been writing, speaking, consulting ever since, working with mid-market companies to grow process improvement engines to help them scale. So bunch of nerdy stuff, all the stuff no one ever wants to talk to, but it actually holds them back from growth.
I usually joke that culture eats strategy
Yeah.
for breakfast, but only because I'm culture and like
Yeah,
not as
Abe.
stuff, right? Yeah. So what's your marketing question for us?
Yeah, so I would love to hear your guys' thoughts because um, there's so many companies out there, B2B, right? You're in the B2B business. So many companies out there that have wasted money on marketers.
Sure.
And they have it's almost like you beat your head against the wall because they have so many poor experiences. They don't even believe it's possible anymore to have like a good marketer. And specifically on the topic of email marketing, I would love to hear your thoughts on best practices, regardless of size or agnostic of industry, best practices for email marketing today, right? Like not in the past, but like now.
So this is like the best and worst thing for us because if someone comes from a really bad agency and had a really bad experience, it's expectations are low. It's so easy. Sometimes
Mm.
answering a phone call or responding to a text like
Oh,
puts us in a different stratosphere.
no,
Well,
it's worse though. It's usually like,
I said sometimes.
no, it's usually like we spent all our money with this other agency. We just spent $100,000. We got zero results. We have $3,000 for you. Make miracles. Yeah, that's usually what happens.
That's actually a true story. I had a friend come to me for a website, and I think we were going to charge, I don't know, 15, 20K, which was for what it was a friendly deal.
Mm.
That she didn't have that budget at the moment. Come to find out later, she spent 60 grand with someone else. It was such a piece of shit. The site didn't even launch. And then she came back to me and was like, I have 5 grand to spend.
Wow.
She blamed it on her partners, but that's a move I know too. I blame everything on Amanda. And, but I mean, it's tough, right? Like it happens in some contexts in every industry. I think people rationally understand that marketing is necessary and works, but it's that industry, right? It is an industry where you can just kind of like hang up a shingle and say you're good at it and start selling whatever tomorrow.
And we will get to your question, but another thing that I see is a lot of business owners assume that like Gen Z is just good at social media just because of their age, and I'm here to tell you they are not. Most of them are not. Like there's so many people that just like get because of we'll just give it to her. She's Gen Z, she's young, she's 25, like she'll know how to do this, she'll know this trick, she'll know that. And it's just not how that works.
Mm.
Just because you're on TikTok doesn't mean you're gonna come up with the best trends and make
Mm.
something. But no, I mean I was addressing the first part. I mean it's a challenge, right? So it's something we deal with, and I think for the consumer side, like from our side, we just got to convince them we're trustworthy and we can do it. From the consumer side, I think everyone needs to understand that the whole thing's not a racket. Obviously, it works for a lot of people, and it's part of figuring out and cracking the code for the funnel that's going to work for your company is experimentation. But in terms of B2B email marketing, I think it's funny. Amanda was just talking about millennials. Millennials love email marketing, right? Our strat. If we frankly had the time and capacity, I would send an email out every week.
Email marketing it still really works really well. I have an answer for this, and it's not,
You want to go first?
yeah, I
Yeah.
do. Because the most important thing is consistency. So it's really like, what can you commit to where you will be consistent and not let the ball drop? So that's where we start with our clients a lot because it does involve their participation. They have to provide us with assets and information in order to promote when we're writing these emails for them. Like, what events do you have coming up? What are you trying? Do you have a new person that in your employee that you're trying to spotlight? All these things. And so, what can they commit to? Can you do once a month? Okay, once a month. Great. We're going to start with once a month. Okay, can you do once every 2 weeks? Okay, great. We'll do once every 2 weeks. Let's do that. But once a week would be is what I think the answer is. I just think it's a lot of times ambitious and then you lose the consistency. And if you lose the consistency, that's where things fall apart.
Yeah, but I absolutely think B2B still works. I think building a list is the hardest part, right? And like a really good lead magnet, offer, webinar, giveaway, whatever, right? Whatever you can do to get people to give you their information and in a way that like allows you to email them is good. And, we email market a ton. We get a lot of business from our email marketing. Obviously, once they're in your system, they know who you are, right? So it's a warm lead, if you will. And you have to keep their attention. So much of it is, and I think this is true of all marketing and people just forget it, but so much of it is just being interesting, right? So you want to provide value if you can, but it needs to be something someone's going to want to read, right? And so if you're cranking out super generic, boring, and it doesn't even have to be earth-shattering new information, right? The basic stuff that like the very first, most simple part of setting up a process to you that you're like, is not even worth the time is magic to other people that don't know what they're doing, right? And so it's not about overthinking it. It's not about, you want to provide value, but it's not about crushing it with the most amazing thing every time. Even if you're going to tell like a client success story, like if it's funny or interesting or whatever, it's a very different experience for the reader than like a case study. So I think focusing on keeping it interesting, and I'm assuming we're talking about you, you are super interesting, right? And you have a very nerdy process, buttoned up business, and a very different personality, which I think is going to be like very compelling and work really well for you. Beyond that, it depends how granular you want to get and how much time you have, right? So, hyper personalization. Are you on my email list, by the way? You get my emails? Oh,
No.
it's about to change.
Yeah.
You've
This
just
was
opted in.
this was a
You have
secret
my
option.
permission.
So I think personalization is really important, right? So at least take the effort to hey, first name, right?
Yeah,
Like
that's basic.
minimum.
Yeah.
We actually we changed the way our emails look and sound, and like everyone knows it's a mass email, but it feels like it's coming from one of us, right? Sometimes it'll come from Borzu at, sometimes it'll come from Amanda at,
Usually it comes
right?
from
But
Zoo because
what? It's usually Borzu.
I like, well, it's always both of us. That's something that maybe not everybody knows, but Borzu has a lot he wants to say, and I like to just edit it.
Yeah, I have a lot I want to say, and Amanda wants to make sure people.
Yeah, I gotta
can-
make sure.
Yeah, make sure they can understand it. 90% of the time, I feel like it's fine, but then 10% of the time, she's like, "What does this mean?" And I'm like, "I don't know." So I do think hyper personalization makes a big difference, right? And kind of as we go, like some of it's going to become more complicated. But I think segmentation is great. Like it's going to be a lot of paperwork for you. I'm assuming we're talking about you still.
Yeah, and dumb that down. Like, what do you mean by segmentation? Because it's just
So,
one of those words that's like in your ear, out the other if you don't know what you're talking about.
so in a fantasy world, right? We're going to like complicate it and we'll distill it down to something. You would have your customers listed by size, right? The offer you're going to make me, MB business owner, is not the offer you're going to make a Fortune 500 company, right? Maybe even industry. So maybe you have your B2B people tagged a certain way, B2C people tagged a certain way, your people you met at EMP tagged a certain way, and then you can send stuff super relevant to them, right? Which inherently makes it more interesting to that specific audience and gives you a lot more control. So if you're going to offer, $100,000 Fortune 500 speaking gig, that's not for me, right? Like that's not an email. You could send that to me, but it's not going to help you and maybe make me less likely to work with you in the future. Whereas if you send, the CEO of, I don't know, $200 million company, your cohort, for building process,
Yeah.
they're not going to be really good with that, right?
Yeah.
So if you have the capacity, and it is more effort, to segment them based on company size, industry. Go ahead.
Well, let's go even more
Deeper.
basic. So
Yeah, I said I was going to start on the
let's
complicated
go
side. I'm working my
more
way back.
basic because um, most companies can do a client list, client segment, and a prospect segment. Okay. So then you're at least separating the people that you have already engaged with you or are engaging with you from the people that you're trying to lure. So that's one thing you could do, have like a networking segment or things like that. But the very most basic thing is just those two, clients and prospects, or clients and leads, however you want to call it.
Yeah.
But I'd also like to make a distinction between, because we talked about frequency. When I was saying, sending these emails monthly or, biweekly, whatever, there's also lead nurturing, and that's totally separate. You might have an automated process for that, and that's a separate list with inbound marketing that should be automated, hopefully.
Yeah, I'm also just talking about the standard outbound emails that everyone gets. But I like to her point when she was saying networking, who did I meet at EMP? Who did I meet at YPO? Who did I meet at EO? So again, if you have an offer like this, you can send it to the YPO people, YPO special offer, EMP
Yeah,
special
yeah.
offer, right? Because it really it makes them feel like you're really sending it to them.
So
Hmm.
another thing that you could use for segments, I also like to say tags, because if you tag them, you can usually do that within any system. And so you can use as many tags as you want, and then you could filter by these tags and then add them into a segment based on the tags. So say I'm going to be doing a tour and I'm going to Chicago and LA, and then I have tagged those people that are located in those areas, then you know that you can segment that list, add those two tags to the list that you're going to send this announcement to.
Yeah,
As an
totally.
example. Yeah.
And then do you use a CRM, Hilary? Of course you do, right?
Yeah.
What is?
Insightly.
Really?
Heard of it, but I think
Yeah,
it's
I don't have a ton of
a
experience with it
million years
either.
ago.
Amazing. So simple. So simple.
I will dig into it. Otherwise, the personalization can go in your subject as well.
But I use Beehive for my newsletter.
That's great.
Is it?
Do they connect? Do you have an integration?
I don't have them integrated right now.
That must be something.
Well, I don't do a lot of outbound email marketing.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't needed to.
Mhm.
I thought you were asking because
Of
you
course,
wanted
you
us to
thought we
see
didn't need to at one point, and that was fun. Yeah.
I did think we didn't need to, and she's right. She twisted my arm on that one.
I mean, we had a facilitator, and I was like yelling at him.
Yeah,
Oh, that's funny.
but no, I mean it paid big for us. It did, which is why we really really endorse it and sing its
I mean,
praises.
people just like qualitatively come up to us, and I'll say, I really like your emails and things like that.
Oh my God, like 4 people away. Like someone who's not on my list will be like, "Oh, I heard from so and so that your emails are great. Like, how do I get on the list?"
Cool.
And so much of it. So it's got to be interesting so they read it, but so much of it is just staying top of mind.
Yeah.
We were
Yeah.
just talking to Daniel Rafidi, who was saying he would be pitching someone and they'd be like, "Oh, not right now, in 6 months." And then 6 months later, he'd call them and they'd be like, "Oh, we just made a move 2 months ago. I totally forgot about you." Right. And so much of that. And I think that's true for posting on LinkedIn, your social media, like everything else as well. But so much of that is just being remembered when the
Well,
time is right.
we started a blog. I called it a blog back in the day, in the midst of COVID, because I just felt like companies were getting such bad advice about what to do. And I was like, I got to start writing about this. And I was just word vomiting, like giving as much as possible. And it really took off. It grew really fast and was super valuable. And it all came from me. Like it wasn't like a bot writing it, or, back then ChatGPT wasn't around, but really valuable. And then someone convinced us to switch to Beehive because of like they were touting some crazy, numbers about conversion rate and click through rate. And I was just like, all right, let's make the jump. We were using Flowdesk before. And I think our numbers have gone down. And we changed the format from just a blog to a newsletter. So there's like an opening. It's
I mean,
what?
you never know. I do think that you're right about the platform, but when you have so many variables changing at the same time, you can't really pinpoint what it is.
That's true.
And if they're used to a certain format and they're people, it's attracting people, they're liking it, they're engaging. It's why mess with it? Why mess with what's working? Maybe go back to the.
Well, and Beehive, as I understand it, is really designed to have a paid newsletter more than a normal one. I think that's really its kind of like claim to fame. Otherwise,
Yeah.
we don't use it, but I hear it's like super easy and you can like create
Very
an Instagram.
easy. I mean, they're all easy, right? And it looks exactly the way it did a few.
Certainly are not all easy.
Oh, okay. You see more than I do.
No, but so you must have gone to the newsletter for a reason. I mean, why not both though? So, I mean, a lot of our clients do both. They have an opt-in blog. So they like clients will, people who have opted in will get their blog as soon as they've written it. But
Mhm.
they also have a newsletter, which is a separate list.
Yeah, just simplification.
Yeah.
Just simplification. I mean, the business has a very I'm really big on simple, keeping it as simple as possible and being very specific about the use of the email list. Like not just like we're gonna have this list and that list and run this campaign and that. Like some people just overthink their marketing. So we have like a standard campaign that goes out every week to our newsletter list that has it's just all about driving value. Like how can I outsource my brain? What can I give away for free? And I'm constantly pulling content from my conversations with clients because I find that the topics are like the most relevant. Like if something came up on Monday, I'm like, okay, put it in for next week. Like let's make it as relevant and timely as possible. And
Yeah,
I'll
I mean,
get literal feedback from people being like, "Oh, I was just having this conversation with my team member." And I'm like, "Yeah, because we're not the only ones, right?" And then we have a funnel design that's very targeted for the cohort program that I sent Borzo that is like very, very its own thing. So we have freebies that go into that funnel through the program and sell through a webinar to get them converted. But that's like its own entity outside of the regular cadence of the newsletter that we've been doing for like 6 years now, 5, 6 years.
and so I'm sorry, is the Beehive newsletter still the Hilary Corna brand? You were just talking about stuff that was happening. Okay.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. We don't necessarily have any, well, I mean, I don't think it's a problem. It's just I really thought Beehive would like spike our click rates and it like didn't. It's like exactly the same. So I was just like, wow, why did we make that jump? That was a lot of effort for nothing.
No,
A shit ton of effort.
I think it's easy to add new subscribers if you want to run ads and like engage with the
Okay.
community. I think the main I could be wrong, but I think the main reason is if you want to monetize your list and charge people to be on it.
I heard that they had like a very unique algorithm that optimized click-through rates. That's what I was told. Are you guys, I mean, I'm sure you know Natalie Ellis from Boss Babe. Do you follow her stuff?
Yeah.
So she's a friend of mine here locally,
Yeah.
and they switched to um what you were asking about, Amanda, like is Beehive integrated with the
Mhm,
CRM that I use?
mhm.
They also use Beehive separate and don't have integration outside. They basically use Kajabi and then Beehive. And they said they use it separately because the click through rates were so strong. I'm like, maybe I just haven't hacked the system yet. Like, I'm doing
The
something
click
wrong.
through rate in the email?
Ba-
Does Beehive design it?
Do you have sales support? Because go back to your representative and be like, hey, why are we not experiencing some of these benefits that we were sold?
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a good point.
Well,
Yeah,
it
I don't
sounds
know.
like your friend sold her, not the.
Oh, right. Well, regardless, you should be able to
Yeah,
talk.
that's a great point.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish I
Especially if
knew.
you're friendly, yeah, about it. You're like, hey, like we're just not seeing this.
Well,
Can we?
here's the question. Do you guys ever see where people link too much in their newsletters? Like, is there a limit? Oh, there is.
So I actually, I think if there's too many, it dings your like spam rating. So other like network firewall, email processors look at it as a negative. I don't know how many too many is, but I don't think they like it.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you know what? I'm gonna do some research on that because that's important for my job, I believe, to know
Mm-hmm.
how many too many is, but I do not at this moment know that. We are very conscious of not having too many calls to action in an email or anywhere because you want them to focus on what you want them to focus on. So you got to really prioritize and think, where do I want them to click? And if they click on something else, that doesn't mean you want them to pay all the attention on the thing that you most want them to click on. So
What's
Yeah,
like one of the coolest or most unique things you've seen a client or even a prospect or someone else do in email marketing recently?
it's a tough one. We like weighing these things, but every once in a while, I wish I was prepared.
Yeah, that's that would be something that I would have given some thought to if I had known this question ahead of time.
So I mean, I really am gonna like triple down on it's the content and making it good. From like a technology standpoint, like I can't think of anything, like quizzes, games,
Mhm.
contests are always interesting and drive engagement.
Okay, here's another question then. What is your personal opinion of not capitalizing words in subject lines?
Which like all of the words, even like
Yeah, like we have
now.
found we've been testing a bunch. We've been playing because we have like nothing to lose. Like our base is very loyal. I have a very low unsubscribe rate. We drive a ton of value. So we've been testing some things. And it's really interesting. We've been testing what I've seen some people that I follow that I actually really love do. And their subject lines aren't capitalized, which for me is like nails on a chalkboard because I come from Toyota. I'm a process person. I'm like, follow the rules. Like, why didn't you capitalize the first letter of that subject line? But when we don't do it, we get more open rates and more click-through rates. It's unbelievable. I'm like, it's almost like a friend is talking to you. I don't know if you guys have seen
Thing.
this.
Actually,
That's
that's
what I
what
was
we
gonna say.
found. So we found that it helps to actually strip things down, not be overly designed, be more conversational, be more human, and most importantly, to provide value that you thinking as the audience instead of thinking as the company and what you're trying to sell. You really want to think, is this going to be beneficial to somebody? Is this usable for them? Is this interesting to them? Because what most people do with their newsletters is they're trying to sell, showcase, showcase, all about their company, and it really should be about the reader.
Yeah, but I think you nailed it. When it's lowercase, it looks like it's more personal and it's from you, and they think you're sending an email just to them. Like she said, we went through this whole exercise and we also A/B test and experiment with things and learn the same thing is true. So
Hmm.
we have no header. The email just comes in, hey Hilary, blah 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 blah, right? And it sounds like me, and it usually. and
We
if
do
I
add
if I
some graphics because they're in the middle, like sometimes.
yeah, but like yeah, but if anyone was gonna go nuts on design on one of these things, you would think it would be us. And we also found it just doesn't work that well. Like if they feel like we're just sending them an email, open rate goes up, click rate goes up, response rate goes up, and yeah, people will reply like we're just having a conversation, and we'll just go back and forth.
Yeah. Oh, I was just going to say, like, subject line is really important because that's obviously like if they're not interested in the subject, they're not going to open the email. So we really try to make that provocative or interesting. I have a client, and this is just a silly thing, but it works really well for her, where I take the theme of the email and find a song title, and I use song titles in the subject lines. That it's just people resonate with it because they remember the song, and so then they're more likely to open. She's a
Well,
very high open rate.
and this would maybe be another interesting place to play with segmentation, right? So founders, entrepreneurs, marketing execs, probably way more likely to open the lowercase, more personal, whatever tone. Maybe a maybe. CFO, COO, Fortune 500, C level, want to see the professional email, and maybe they'll get a better open rate click through on that.
Mm.
And it's the kind of thing where you could spend as much time as you want trying a million different things, but normally we like to do one thing at a time and just kind of see how it plays out and goes. But the lowercase is definitely like the more personal. Like it feels like a text, you know? Yeah.
Try misspelling words too. Just kidding. Don't do that. I don't. Yeah.
I still
Hold on.
capitalize in text messages.
It's
Yeah. Yeah. Me
it's
too.
funny. I definitely sent an email with a misspelling in it once, and for everyone who replied, I was like, "Oh, I was just doing this for engagement to see what it did," which was
Well,
a complete.
that's funny.
It was a complete lie. I absolutely
I
had,
love
had
that.
that go. And I thought it would be clear that it was like a joke, and I was kidding, like my kidding excuse. And at least two different people were like, "Oh, I should try that." But it actually got great engagement. So maybe,
That's funny. That's hilarious.
yeah. Was that helpful?
Yeah, so helpful. Email marketing is like it's seems like it would be obvious and it's just not. Like I feel like anyone who is was born in the 80s like needs like a modern day course on email marketing. You know what I mean?
It
It's probably
all
in college now, hopefully. Jeez.
maybe all the little things, right? The what color is the CTA? Where do I put this? Capitalizing all that stuff you want to experiment with. You can even A/B test it in one email, right? Send half the list of the email caps, half the email lower cap, case. That way you take out the variable of how different the subject line is. And so you can operate that way. And again, always recommend experimenting. Always good to A/B test. Always good to take a little time to do that. But nothing is more important than, I'm going to say, staying on brand. But in your case, that means just being yourself, right? Like you want it to sound like it's coming from you every time. And then just being interesting,
Yeah.
right? Like you would be better off sending out an interesting story about your experience on a podcast that sounded like you and was compelling to people than a really technical, ops related, boring thing that you did for someone. But back to the personal brand thing, it's because they want to know you. They want to work with you, right?
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
this.
You seem to know a lot more than a lot of people coming
They
into
do,
this
actually, yeah.
conversation.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, for sure. Oh my
Thank you.
gosh.
I needed that today.
Oh, good.
No, you're crushing it.
I wouldn't have said it if it wasn't true.
That's true.
I know a little bit. I know a
She
little
does
bit.
not deliver
But
empty
I'm a
compliments.
process thinker. Like I'm so process minded that like I can take my way of thinking and like layer it into email marketing, and I get it. I get it, but I always want a system. I want like a system, and I want something to have a purpose. So it's like, what's the purpose of email marketing? And like you said earlier, like you can do outbound, you can generate inbound, you can execute a newsletter, even a blog simultaneously. There's different purposes of email marketing. And if we just lump it together as like we do email marketing, it's like, well, what are you doing it for?
Hmm.
That's where my brain sometimes like
So
doesn't connect.
Everything should have a purpose, first of all. So that's, and
yeah, I'll give a little more overarching on
Please,
this.
I will take all the time.
And so one, and I think yours is clear, right? Like what's the purpose of your business for what you do? And you want to tie everything back to that. Two, you can do the same content in the blog and in the email and in the whatever. And you can just go see what people are searching for. I used to tell people to go to like answerthepublic.com, which is a website that you can just put in like process or business process, and it'll show you a bunch of stuff that people are searching for. But Google's Gemini AI has gotten really good. So now you can just go there and ask it what people are searching for because it's tied into Google Search Console and has access really to everything. It's the technical process way of finding those conversations you were having with people that was
Yeah.
top of mind for them and what are the problems they're having. And so that gives you a good content base just in terms of like general things people want to hear. And then you just start answering those questions, and it can be in the blog, it can be in a perfect scenario. Things for different platforms are tailored a little differently, but as long as you're going through the effort, post it on LinkedIn, post the blog, do the email, right? This is stuff people are interested in anyway, right?
Yeah.
Like, and just make it about you.
What was
And
the
people
website? Ask the Public?
answer
Answer the
thepublic.com.
Public. Wow, never heard of it. That's interesting.
But Google's Gemini works great now too.
Okay,
I used
cool.
to always say answer the public, and you can do both, you can do either, but
but you just
it's
want to be
really,
specific with your prompts. Like, what are people asking about this?
yeah, Gemini, you have to be more specific with the prompt, and I can send you something. Answer the public, you could just put in business process, and it'll do the homework of like everything related to that people are searching for, including volume, what people are paying for cost per click, right? Like how hard is it going to be to rank for SEO,
Mm,
and you'll build up a really nice base that way.
here's a good question to end on. I'm hijacking a conversation. Do you guys have a guarantee at Nickel Bronx?
We don't. Do you?
Y'all marketing agencies, I swear, no. But I had a client get ripped off by a marketing agency.
No. I'm not going where you think with this. What's a guarantee that you would
Very good. I want to
be
know.
compelling to you?
So, guarantees, my approach on it is that it has to be based on the scope of what you're committing to the customer. So, if you're doing paid media, a guarantee should be about results. Like it's a big math equation. If we don't get you the results, you can do it in really creative ways though. Like if we don't get you the results, we're going to work as long as possible to get you the results you need rather than a refund. Doesn't have to be a refund all the time.
Yeah.
I have a guarantee that at the end of every month, I have a monthly review with my leadership team for the company that hires me for the full engagement. It's very quick, 30-minute agenda, very high level. And if they don't feel like they're getting value out of that month, they don't have to pay me for that month. And I've never had anyone take me up on it. But in the sales process, it does a lot to confirm confidence in the prospect. Say, this is my guarantee. We're going to check in on it every single month. And if you ever need to hold me accountable, this is a way to help me be held accountable and make sure I'm delivering value to you first. And no one's ever used it on me. I've had unhappy customers. I've had customers sometimes not get what they wanted because, well, they didn't follow the process. But like we worked through it. But a guarantee can be such a powerful tool to close a deal.
We know that. We know that, and we've considered it heavily.
Well,
Yeah.
it actually was in our
It was in our brand
marketing strategy.
strategy.
Yeah,
Yeah, in our marketing strategy.
But it should be depending on the project. I mean, you have a retainer model and I think you have projects as well, right?
correct.
So it should be a guarantee that's different based on what the scope of the engagement is.
We've encountered two issues that made us hesitant to do something like this. One is we produce the results and we have analytics to back us up, but they still don't necessarily think it's attributed to us.
Mm.
So, and people don't want to pay, like people don't want to pay. So they're going to find ways to not
I
pay.
have had a client cancel because they got too busy with customers before. It was
Yeah.
infuriating.
Right. So, that's one.
You need better terms in your agreement.
Well, I mean, every contract has an out at some point.
Yeah. Got it. I understand.
Oh my gosh, there was
It
another.
wasn't like the first month.
I forgot the other one right now. Oh my gosh,
Sorry.
I got distracted. Uh, that's what happens in these all the time. I'm like listening, and then I
I was
get
saying having guarantees based on the scope of the engagement.
yeah.
You said you were thinking, the company was thinking about.
This.
Two reasons we don't do that. We had a situation where
We had a situation, yeah, where that's happened, and then this is the other situation. This happens all the time. We are not able to run the entire process that we have agreed to before they step in and pivot the scope. So we have agreed to an entire engagement, very specific about what we're going to do, the deliverables they're going to receive, the results they're expected to get. And 6 weeks in, they're already changing what we're supposed to do because their business has changed, and we need to be flexible, and we need to now go after this other revenue stream, and we need to now alter the ad campaign that we were doing or alter the emails, or and so this happens quite frequently, and especially in this environment, I can't imagine that stopping. So it just gets really tricky.
Mhm.
maybe it's something we'll put some time on because I like the way you do it, frankly. And I understand the value on the other side of that. But
We totally do. And we were like, I mean, and the guarantee we were working with was a money back guarantee. But I'm like, we were trying to think, is there another type of guarantee? Is there
Yeah.
something, and we just, I mean, we really, I mean, Borzi, I don't know if you remember, like we were going round and round and round on this. And then we were just like, I don't think this is possible just because of what happens in a lot of times in these engagements. So
yeah,
Well, ChatGPT is brilliant at coming up with. We did
this was
this.
before ChatGPT. So maybe
Yeah,
we should
yeah. If you play around in ChatGPT now, you can be like, okay, but I need not many back, or here's my scenario. What would
Mhm.
be a way to give the customer more confidence to say yes without us, having to break the contract or refund the entire engagement, things like that. They can come up with some really creative things, but I think the more important thing is having the pulse check. So it's not like this guarantee exists in the background and you're never checking in on it, but like whatever that standard cadence is that you're meeting with clients, like at what point are you checking in that they're getting what they wanted? So then they can't retroactively be like, we haven't been happy for 6 months. And you'd be like,
Not when it's
whoa, wait a second. Since when? I think
we've
that's more important because then it becomes smaller, a little bit more acute,
Totally agree with you. This is something that we are readjusting right now, actually, like literally just met about this today. What would you recommend as far as like the intervals of pulse checking and how that would work?
Well,
Hilary's like, I didn't come on here to give free process advice. I'm just kidding.
I love it. I'm it's like my love language is being of value, so and contributing. So I'm happy to. Um, what percentage of your clients are retainer versus projects?
Or Zoo. How many?
Roughly. Doesn't have to be exact.
Let's say half.
At 50-50. Are you trying to shift more to retainer?
Always. Except for, we do get a lot of larger projects, and those are great. So I
Yeah,
don't
yeah. You
your
need
value.
those too.
Well, also just like kind of typical client path, brand strategy, visual identity, marketing strategy, website, right? And so if a company's too small, they got to implement the strategy themselves. If they're too big, they have their own team to implement the strategy.
Yeah.
Right? So then it's like the middle slot that like has the money but doesn't want to do it themselves, but doesn't have their own team is the one.
Yeah, totally. And when someone comes in on a retainer model, what's the average length of agreement you're signing with them? Is it just 1 year, 3 years?
Typically.
1 year. Okay.
6 to 12 months.
I would say quarterly pulse is more than enough because you need some time to make some headway. Like, yeah, you're going to make progress in a month, but you're not going to have a whole lot to check in on them with. I feel like a quarterly pulse and keeping, like, one of the things I really believe on is having the right conversation in the right place with the right people. So a quarterly pulse conversation is not talking about the details of the results. It's like coming up a level to say, are you getting what you want? Are we on schedule? Do we have the right team involved? Is there any content or context that's missing? Like, it's not like the nitty gritty details. It's like, it's more of how we're working, not what we're working on,
Yeah.
that the conversation should be about. And
Very
like,
good.
is there anything coming up that we need to know about? Are you making any strategic moves? Are you growing through acquisitions? Are you changing leadership teams? Like, those are the conversations you have in that pulse check. And it's like all about, like, are we good in a relationship? And then, getting that confirmation, like, are you getting the value you desired out of this quarter? Yes or no? And then the beauty is just simply asking the question, because the majority of people don't. Just simply asking the question gives them space to give, I don't want to say feedback because that's kind of in a word like in one ear out the other, but it gives them the space to kind of vent if they aren't getting what they want. And then you can solve for it proactively. Like, sometimes they're like, yeah, we really need you to spend some extra time with this one person. They're getting behind, or they're the most resistant. And I'm like, okay, we can make that happen because they're worried it's going to threaten the project, right? Versus never asking, and then their resentment and anger just builds and builds until they cut the contract. So
Yeah.
sometimes
No.
just making the ask allows them to vent, and then you can resolve it proactively ahead of them wanting to cancel a contract. It really
Yeah,
goes a long way. But people,
it's not as,
sorry,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Well, I was gonna say it's not as in depth as what you said. That was actually really, really helpful
Good.
for something to roll out. But we're rolling out something where our chief of staff does that, because a lot of times I feel like the client doesn't want to give the feedback to the people working on the
Yeah,
project.
that's fair.
But those questions you gave were gold.
Yeah. That was
Yeah. And here's the thing I personally wish people would understand more, or like get over themselves about, is it's like in the name of efficiency and productivity. Well, we don't have time for that. Well, who has time for 30 minutes? And it's like, do you want to keep your client or not? Like, do you want to keep a $10,000 a month retainer on your books, or do you not have 30 minutes for them? Like, what? It's just I feel like our society is like, what is more productive? How do we remove a step? How do we remove a body? And it's like, sometimes you need an extra step to have that oversight. If you ever look at like sales management best practices, or coming from Toyota manufacturing best practices, when you manage plan versus actual, the goal of managing plan versus actual is not like just to report numbers, it's to get ahead. So if we report plan versus actual and we're halfway through the quarter and we're behind, then it's okay, how can we be agile to take extra action to get ahead of the planned goal? And so it's like, it's not it's purposely proactive so that you don't get to the point where the relationship has gone sour. And 30 minutes can save you a huge deal. Like, I can't tell you, some people, like, they're like, oh, thank you. All I needed was 10 minutes and I'm done. And I'm like, yeah, no problem.
To your previous point, do you know who Joey Coleman is? He has a book, How to Never Lose a Customer.
Joey Coleman.
I know the book. I haven't read it.
So he talks about your attrition rate.
Mm,
I forget the exact numbers, but basically, if you like just cut your, like, not get new customers, not sell more stuff, if you just cut your attrition rate in half, like most
exactly.
do like 10x the revenue in
Yep.
10 years. Like, it's such a powerful, easy lever to pull that makes more different. I wish I knew the exact number. I'll try to edit it and put it on the screen. I could not believe
Mhm.
what the numbers like extrapolated out to.
There is a woman named Jean Bliss. She, like, no one really know her today, but she brought LL Bean to the height of its success in the 90s. For anyone who knows what LL Bean is, she's considered like the godmother of CX design. And she has a term that she created at LL Bean called customer asset metrics. And customer asset metrics are essentially, the premise of them is that we have to view our customer base as an asset. And is our customer base that number, both quantity and quantity, number of, volume, and value? So like how many customers we have and the value of the customer base. So that seeing it as an asset, and is that asset growing or shrinking? So the number of customers, is it growing, shrinking? And then the total value of that customer base, is it growing or shrinking? And basically similar premise, like you don't actually have to go out and get more leads if you continue to keep and then grow your existing customer base. And if you really look closely at your existing customers, probably yours too. Like there's so much more value they need from you. They need to learn about email marketing. They need to learn about paid media. They need to learn about keywords and SEO. They need to, I mean, so many things, marketing. Oh my God. I made a commitment. You guys don't know this yet. But at the beginning of this year, I was like, this is the year that I learned marketing. So it's very fitting that I'm having this conversation with you, because I was like, I'm not going to be scared of it anymore. Like I was the person that used to say before this year. Like, I feel like I'm the only woman that does not like marketing. Like, it's not to be sexist, please don't quote me, but like, I'm like, I hate marketing. I hate marketing. I hate marketing. And
That's
this year I
really
was
the
like,
only we put out. Haley.
no, don't. I'm like, this is the year I'm going to change my relationship. I'm going to reframe this story that I'm telling about myself, and I'm going to learn marketing. But I'm like, entry level.
You have
So
a
thanks.
beginner's mindset.
Thanks for expanding my mind. But
I
yeah,
don't think
customer asset metrics is a really cool
think
concept by Gene
I
Bliss.
think you know a lot more than
Yeah.
a lot of people,
Well,
that
thank you.
certainly than a lot of business owners that come to us.
Are you surprised by that? Are you like, wow, we are really starting with the basics? Is that hard sometimes?
I'm so used to the
No, it's the
spectrum of
best, honestly.
knowledge that, you know,
No, I think it's the best, honestly. There's nothing worse than someone who's like a little dangerous. It's like, I've been reading on SEO and I think, meh, 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 meh." It's like,
well, that happens a lot, but usually they don't know a lot. They just think they know a lot.
no, that's what I'm saying. That's the worst case. It's someone
Yeah,
who
that's
knows.
the worst case.
I don't mind someone who's completely green and is like, that's my favorite situation is, I don't know this shit, do
Yeah.
what you want. Second favorite is, I really know this shit, I'm going to be a good partner.
Yep.
Least favorite is,
Is I know better than you, and I'm going to question
yeah.
everything you do and derail all your efforts.
My cousin Steve is a millennial who lives in New York and thinks,
I actually have none of those. Everyone that comes to me is like, everyone's like, I need to understand process. I know that, but I don't even know. I don't know anything. And I'm like, good, we can do something with that. Anyway,
Corna.com.
personal brand.
I'm gonna have all her. It was actually fascinating to me when we were talking before. Hilary has like she loves what she does so much that she
I can
really
feel it.
can you?
Yeah.
She really wants to be hands on every project. She's so, and maybe this is an ops thing or just a you thing, outcome focused.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's her. It's her.
I think it's a, it's a territorial kind of like defense mechanism, because I come from Toyota and I feel like I have a duty to do it the way they taught me. That's where it comes from. It's like I was given this huge gift of learning literally from the masters, that like I I can't let someone threaten the process by someone else doing it. It's very weird. It's like good and bad. Like I have to protect. It's like when you look at meditation and how meditation was passed down over thousands and thousands of years. Like it was taken by some teachers and it was taught a new way, and then a new way, and then you have Bikram destroy it. That's a whole nother tangent. And like, and it's
Never heard
like,
you say
no, it needs
provoke.
to keep to its purity. And that's how I feel. Like everyone's like, why don't you have coaches under you? I'm like, no, no, no. I have to, like, they will never be able to learn from Toyota. I have to keep to its purity. And I just feel indebted. Like it's a form of like obligation. So, and then I get so much joy out of it because no process challenge is the same. Every dynamic is so different. You come in and it's like this complex problem and operation, and you're just unpuzzling or unraveling this puzzle. And so it keeps things interesting. I'm not just like cutting and pasting, you know?
Girl, I'm telling you, if every email sounds like that,
Damn. Damn. Maybe
you
you
are
need
gonna
to
be
butcher
on
my
fire.
emails. Don't butcher my emails. I'm so afraid of you butchering my emails.
No, you're overthinking it.
Yeah,
But
so
yeah,
I feel
but
very
you know
protective.
what?
That's the word.
We'll do like a list trade, and not like our actual list, but I'll put you on my email list. You put me on your email list.
Oh, okay.
And we'll
Yeah, it's like a black
we'll
market for email addresses. We're like,
no,
I'll
not
give you
that, not
my
that.
email address.
It's actually
No, 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 no. Not my contacts.
Yeah, yeah,
Everyone
yeah,
here's
totally.
yeah. But I'll put you on my list, and we'll compare notes. I'll tell you what I think works about mine. You tell me what you don't like about mine. And we'll go back and forth.
Blushing. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'll do
Well, then our
that.
work
I'll do that.
here is done.
Yeah. This guy really talks a lot. Jesus.
Ain't everyone's done for something.
Mm.
All right. So next time we're gonna meet in Boca.
Sure, yeah. I've got like
So
a we can go to my clubhouse, hang out at
so
the pool.
It's I don't know if there's like a non-Boca Boca experience, but hers is a Boca Boca experience.
I want a Boca Boca experience.
Well, that was the most confusing. Like I had never every place is a gated community and it's just like a different universe. Like you can't even go look at an open house and nobody, you just can't. Everything's gated and it's a bizarro land, but
Interesting.
that's where I live now.
She loves it.
I do love it. I do.
I'm gonna call you up.
Okay. Let's do it. All right. This was great. Thanks
Yeah,
so much.
Hilary, thank you for coming. It was awesome meeting you. Amanda, thank you for hosting with me. Go, were you gonna say anything? No.
No.
Everyone else, thank you for watching. We're gonna have all the links, contact forms, etc., either in the comments or tagged or something somewhere. But thanks for coming.